Hello, everybody. It is I'm going to just kind of give you guys a little bit of time to kind of jump on. I know some of you guys were waiting for this, so I'll give maybe about a minute or two and then I'll start. And whatever you missed, you can come back and you can watch the replay. So, do we have anybody? Oh, we have Adele. Hi, Adele. Thank you for joining me. So, okay. So, I guess I will just start. It is 5 o'clock on the button. And hopefully people will pop in on the, as we go on. So, I just wanted to first thank everybody. It's a little warm here in New York. Whew, got the windows open and everything, so I apologize if there's lots of noise coming from a window because I have a window just over to my left. So thank you very much. I did do a lot of research. I hope that this video is not going to go terribly long. My goal is to slowly get my videos to be like 15 minutes. Or under, so everybody can listen in their busy lives. I know we're all kind of busy. So I just wanted to first thank you all for filling out the poll I had. We had a lot of, let me see, I know I come in with like tons of different topics, and I wanted to really give you some space and time to focus on what you're worrying, what is on your minds and what may be bothering you and worrying you. So I did the poll, and we've had several people choose anxiety and fear. And we've had a couple who also chose grief and sadness. So I think I will address that in another video because that's a pretty hefty topic, and I want to make sure I touch on it the way, I mean, I've had a lot of grief in my life, so and we all have. I mean, we've all lost people. We've lost our fur babies and our family members, boyfriends, spouses. We've lost many people. So grief is a really deep subject. So so that being said, 3 questions came into my mind when I was trying to figure out what is anxiety. And that was the first big question, because anxiety is like so complex. So that was the first question, is what is it really? The second question that came across me was, why does it affect so many people? And the third question I thought of is, why do so many different emotions create this anxiety, this anxious state in us? So I was thinking pretty hard. So through my research, this is what I found, and I hope this resonates with you. So the first one, what is anxiety? Well, that's a hard question to answer, like I said. So we all know that anxiety does create these physical representations within our body. You know, they make us sick. Anxiety makes us sick, physically sick. And that can range from just like this undercurrent of paranoia and this undercurrent of depression that sometimes we don't know what's causing it, but it can also be so drastic that it causes major physical symptoms that could land us in the hospital, like the thought of having a heart attack, possibly having a stroke. These are a lot of the common things that people have spoken about when it comes to their anxiety and the panic attacks that can come from that. So anxiety's effect is so broad. It's so hard to kind of pin down one thing. So I wasn't able to answer that particular question to my satisfaction. So I moved on to the second question. The second question is, why does it affect so many people? So this got me, I was like, there are millions and millions of people on this planet that are affected by anxiety and anxiousness to some degree or another. And we come from all different walks of life. We're all different. We have different situations. We have different problems. We have, so what is causing anxiety to be so prevalent in our society today? So the third question is, why is it created by so many other emotions? I mean, we can get anxiety from overwhelm, from doubt, from worry, from jealousy, from insecurity. That's a big one. Grief, fear, another big one. Despair and powerlessness. We just this anxiety just comes, and our heart starts to go, and so why is it caused by so many things? So I started thinking, and what is the common denominator? So what I found is that it all stems from being caught in what one of my teachers calls thought loops. We get stuck in a thought loop. This is similar to the hamster wheel that I was talking about earlier. These thought loops, they create this cyclical, reactive behaviors that just keep coming and coming and coming and coming. And this is also what my teacher calls being in a trance. So like a trance state, the trance of fear, the trance of depression, just this trance. So let me explain that just a little bit further. So I found a couple great videos that I wanted to pull some of the information for you. And I thought that this would be of value, especially when we're talking about anxiety. So did you know that it takes 1.5 minutes for an emotion to come and go? I didn't know that. Because we get stuck. And why is that? Well, we have this thing called the human brain. And this human brain, its job is to analyze and assess our surroundings. And it's what it was designed for. So I'm just going to look at my notes here. So what happens is when we start to assess and we start to analyze, what's going on? This doesn't make sense. I'm confused now. Oh my gosh, this is so not what I expected. We get hung up and we get stuck and the hamster wheel starts. So we get stuck on this continual thought process. It just comes and comes and comes and comes, and it keeps fueling the original emotions that started the anxiousness in the first place. So you just kind of perpetuate this cycle. So we keep generating and generating more stress or fear thoughts. So the more we circulate these thoughts in our brains, the more we fear things like, oh my gosh, something's coming. Oh my gosh, when the paranoia comes in, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? And these thoughts continue. And it's like this downward spiral. So they can turn and they lead us to certain reactive behaviors that also fuel. And they keep reinforcing the original belief that we had. So it's just like this is nonstop thing. So once we reinforce this fear, let me just fix this. I think I'm falling. There we go. We reinforce the beliefs, the original belief. The insecurity comes even more. The fear comes even more. So then we get depressed. We start trying to control the world around us. We try to control our thoughts. We try to control other people. We try to, just all we want to do is fix it. We want to fix it. And because we keep reinforcing this emotion cycle, we can't get out of it. So we become defensive, we become aggressive toward ourselves and towards other. So this pattern that we go through, we all do it. And the best thing that I could come up with is, this is evidence. Anxiety and anxiousness is evidence that we are out of alignment with the truth. We are not, it's like we're over here and our body's over here. Yeah, I see my hands here. like we're way over here, but like our body, our self is right over here. So we're so far out of alignment, and we just can't, we don't know how to get back to it. So more fear, stress, depression. So we've distanced ourselves from the truth, and in that presence that I've spoken about in all of my other videos, that presence of self, that is your truth. That is the very truth of your spiritual being, the divine person that is you. So, that little person inside you, that inner person, they don't know what anxiety is because they live in truth. So that distancing that we have, the more we distance ourselves from our true self, the more we will have problems with anxiety and with anxiousness and fear and depression. So when you get into that anxious state, remember, that's just reminding you, oh wait, I'm out of alignment. So another thing about anxiety is it is created by our primitive brain, the reptilian brain at the bottom, at the top of our spine, at the base of our brain. And this part of our brain was designed to keep us safe, for survival, to avoid death at all costs. And, when we are living from that part of our brain, we are not connected to the frontal cortex, the part of us that makes us human, the part of us that makes us the amazing creatures we are on this planet, that makes us so much more evolved than other creatures on this planet. So bottom line, when you are stuck in this thought looping, this hamster wheel, and you are reinforcing your feelings and emotions over and over and over again, you're starting to believe something that isn't true. Okay? Because remember, this is the truth, not way over here. This is not the truth. To find the truth, you need to come back into alignment. So when we become more present and we begin to kind of put space between us and whatever is creating the anxiety, so you're basically stepping away from it. You're pulling yourself away from this very excited part of our primitive brain, and you're creating space. And so the more space that you can create, the more you can find the truth of who you really are and the truth of the circumstances around you. So, that's not easy. We are so used to being stuck in this loop and lost in thoughts, and we just keep causing our own suffering. And this could be because we get stuck. Well, not could be, it is. Because we get stuck in our ego mind. We see ourselves as separate from things. But this is me. This is me. That kind of, I guess, perception and identity that we put on ourselves. So, we don't want to be causing our own suffering. Because when we do that, we start to judge ourselves. We start to blame ourselves. We start to blame others. We judge others. And the cycle continues. It's just like this never-ending cycle. Now, I've mentioned the law of attraction in some of my other videos, and I will go into the law of attraction a little bit deeper on another video. But the law states that like attracts like. Okay? And we live in this. This is a physical law. This is a proven physical law. Like attracts like. So what happens if you're stuck in this cycle? Yeah, you're just attracting more of that cycle. So we just keep attracting more things to loop about. And then again, we create more suffering. So our minds can truly terrify us. I mean, it's amazing what we do to ourselves. It's amazing the torture we put ourselves through. And we terrorize ourselves. And all we want to do is get out. We want to get out. And, you know, because we're doing it to ourselves, we can't see where we can get out. And so the fear just becomes palpable. And it just gets more and more and more and more. And you can, you know, domino effect. Boom, 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 boom. And you can, if you allow yourself, you can really put yourself into a crazy state and end up in the hospital with a panic attack, which we really don't want to do. Because that's no fun. Is that really fun? No. I don't want to be in the hospital because my heart is like beating out of my chest. So here is a little tidbit about fear. Now, I'm not going to go too much into fear because fear, again, is one of those complicated things. So there's another, I think it's I've got to find out what this word is, but an acronym or whatever, where you take fear and you have fear, F-E-A-R. And what fear means is false evidence appearing real. Fear is how we react to things that are untrue, that are creating a misalignment in us. So false evidence appearing real. Fear isn't there. Fear is a reaction. There is no true fear. I mean, well, I guess if you want to, if somebody's trying to come after you, that would be fear. But still at the same time, it's false evidence appearing real. So that's something to keep in mind. So how do we get out of that? How do we get out of this torturing ourselves? How do we get out of this suffering that we've created, this anxiety that keeps building and building because of our thought loops? Well, we search for truth. We search for truth. Truth about who we are, truth about the situation we are in. We naturally seek truth. And once we can peel away that layer of perception, we naturally want to find the truth. But that's not easy, especially if you've been in a state of anxiety or depression or negative thoughts for years and years and years. It's really difficult to sit there and say, oh, I'm anxious. I'm going to find the truth now. You know, it's totally not that easy. So we're going to, you know, take a step back and break it down. So the first thing that we all should do when we get into an anxiety state is to breathe. Breathe. Very simple. Just stop and take a breath. Breathe. That will calm your heart down a little bit. That'll calm your head down a little bit. And that will allow the potential for self-reflection. And we've talked about self-reflection in many videos. It is so important. And again, I will stress self-reflection on an objective level. Third party, no emotions, no nothing. You want to find out the truth. So you want to find out where this anxiety is coming from. Do I really feel like this person's going to kill me? Do I really feel like my life is over? Do I really feel like, like really get to the heart of figuring out the truth of why you are anxious. So that is the second step. The third step is to decide. Now this, I know I say this and I know I make it sound so easy, but making a decision is key. You need to decide that things are going to be different. You have to decide to not torture yourself anymore. You have to decide to not allow the suffering. There's one phrase that you can say to yourself, and I know I've said this to myself so many times. This is not acceptable. I will not accept this behavior from me. We do it to other people. We see somebody acting negatively towards us or towards another human being, and what do we say? That's not acceptable. Okay, well, flip it. Start looking at yourself in the mirror and say, look, this is not acceptable. I will not accept the stress. I will not accept this terror. I will not accept this suffering. And you just decide. And the fourth step is act. You need to do something. We can't just think about it and decide that we're not going to do it and not do anything about it. So here's where some of your daily success habits will come in. So you can pull out your affirmation journal. You can write in your gratitude journal. You can, take a few moments and do a short, quick meditation. Just to calm yourself down, just to kind of, really, it's like take yourself from being way out here to, and really try to find that place. Now it's a practice. Daily success habits are a practice. So you can't just say, well, I'm just going to decide to do this and it's going to work perfectly. No, it's going to take a little while. Anxiety, especially anxiety, the people who suffer with anxiety have been suffering for a while. It's not something that just automatically appears. It is a buildup of thought loops that we've created in our lives. So be kind to yourself. Know that it's going to take practice, but the intention and the decision to stop the torture, that's entirely up to you. And that just having that intention is going to help you get to a point where you can easily take that breath and calm that anxiety down. Now, there's a couple other processes that I know I've mentioned the one finding the feeling place, finding that happy space. You can do that process. There's also a 68-second process, which is kind of on the same vein. The 68-second process is basically you hold a happy thought or a positive thought for 68 seconds. And the science behind that, it's from Abraham Hicks, is it takes 17 seconds for a thought to become a feeling. And it takes 68 seconds for that feeling to start manifesting itself. So if you take 17 seconds to create that happy feeling and then stay within that happy feeling for 68 seconds, then you start manifesting that good feeling and you can calm that anxiety and that panic attack down. You can also use the RAIN process. We've talked about that in a couple of the other videos. And RAIN again is oh gosh, my brain just went. It's one of the processes. It's a really great process. Oh my gosh. Reflect, accept, investigate, and nurture. There it is. So the RAIN process can also help you. Because as I'm saying, you self-investigate, you find out why you are reacting a certain way. And then once you understand the underlying cause, then you can start taking the steps to, be kind to yourself and to calm yourself down with daily success habits. And I just wanted to kind of leave you. That's pretty much it. And I wanted, if you have any questions, please, you can pop them in the chat box right now. Or you can pop them in the comments and we can get to them later and you can watch it on the replay. But again, bottom line, anxiety is when we get stuck on these thought loops, this trance that we get into, this trance of fear, this trance of depression, this trance of what's wrong with me, what's wrong with the world, what's wrong with this guy, what's wrong with my husband, these thought loops. And they are entirely based on untruths. Like I said with the fear, false evidence appearing real. So, I hope this kind of resonates with you. I hope that you can take something from it. I do a lot of my work is based on enlightenment and empowerment, and I do truly believe in personal responsibility and personal accountability to ourselves in changing our lives. And anxiety is, although difficult, it is one of the best opportunities for us to take that step back, self-reflect, figure out what is our truth and what is the truth of the matter. Because who wants to live in torture? Who wants to live in terror? I know I don't. And I'm sure all of you don't. And anybody who suffers majorly with anxiety attacks, all they want is to get out. They want to get out. They want it to stop. So, be kind to yourself, nurture yourself, do that objective self-reflection, and breathe. And just breathe. Because that breathing is going to calm the heart, it's going to center the mind, and it's going to make that space between your truth of self, that presence of self, and the filters and the perceptions and the stuff that's causing us so much, I guess, terror. Just align yourself, center yourself, and taking those breaths and doing the meditation and reading, your affirmations and living in a state of gratitude. Even if you only can write down 3 things on a piece of paper of what you're grateful for, that's going to go a long way into helping you shift your mindset and help you get off the hamster wheel and out of those thought loops. So anyway, I guess that's it. So those of you, I know we've had some people join in late, just watch the replay. There's a lot of great information about anxiety here. And I will think about another video about grief and sadness. That might take me a little while to get my thoughts together. So, because there's an awful lot that goes into that. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. And I wish you all the love and all the peace that you can muster within yourself. So many blessings to you, and have a wonderful evening, night, or morning. So bye-bye, everybody. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.